I'm savage. I'm savage. About to go savage.
What up? This is Ben, aka Joyful Savage. I'm out here with my man Thomas Paine today in Morristown, New Jersey. I've been up in Central Jersey, North Jersey, and as I said, and some of you guys laughed, New Germany. I've been discovering New Germany again because there's a lot of history that took place here in New Germany, and as the Fourth Reich moves in on this state, I wanted to discover some of the stuff and the reasons about what actual history went down here. And this dude, Thomas Paine, he gives me like a historical hard-on. I think you guys already know that for the people who follow my content, but he did a lot of great stuff. And I want to read this entire thing that we have here because this was erected in 1950, and I don't know, maybe the mayor of the town or something, he really liked it, but we pay some tribute to him by reading his stuff here. So, Thomas Paine, English by birth. He was born in 1737. French citizen by decree and American by adoption. He came to America, I think, in like 1775, 1774, and got some fans over here, 1775, and when he came here, he saw what was happening in the States. He had his own ideas, and he wanted to bring his ideas of freedom because he had already been fucked over and screwed over with the king and the tyranny that was happening back there. So he came as like a fresh start and a new life type deal, and he said America was the reason why he became an author. Okay? What else? So he wrote Common Sense, The American Crisis, Rights of Man, The Age of Reason, and a nice quote from George Washington here. Your presence may remind Congress and the people of your past services to this country. Okay, I need a drink of water before I continue on. But he was alongside George Washington in many of the battles that took place right here. Morristown, New Jersey was actually a place where George Washington set up his camp, thinking that it was in between New York and Philadelphia, and a strategic location. And up here he has the start of his American Crisis papers. Basically, Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense in January 1776, I think January 10th. This kind of inspired the people of the day, you know, the people that lived here, the public opinion, to actually take up arms and fight against Britain right now, okay? Declare it and just go and do it, because he's like, we're waiting too long, you guys are pussyfooting. There's a lot of these guys that wanted to keep peace, in air quotes, with England, which peace wasn't happening. They've been had a series of abuses, a train of abuses been run on them for the past 10 years, and you know, public opinion was going both ways. And so Common Sense helped give people the intellectual and the emotional understanding to go up and take actions and realize why they need to fight and why they need to fight now. And then the American Crisis is once the fighting actually started and took place. And you know, I actually have a Thomas Paine book with me right here. It's only 2 of the crises in it, but the first one I just listened to the audio of on the way here, and man, this guy is good. He had a lot of spiritual understanding and energy, and he really spoke to the people and to the hearts and minds of these people. This is the start of his crisis paper, and I forget the exact date, I think 1776 again. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. We have this consolation that the greater the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. So this dude was big. I don't know what gave him his own spiritual power in his own life, but obviously he had a lot of it. He's here with a fucking pen out and a gun out, and he was alongside George Washington in a lot of these battles. Washington's sword would have been wielded in vain had it not been supported by the pen of Paine. History is to ascribe the American Revolution to Thomas Paine. John Adams said that. That was the second president of the United States. The citizens of the United States cannot look back upon the time of their own revolution without recollecting among the names of their most distinguished patriots that of Thomas Paine. James Monroe said that. James Monroe, the 4th president. or the 5th president, I forget which one. America is indebted to few characters more than you. General Nathaniel Greene. He also fought in the wars back then. Be assured, my dear friend, that instead of repenting that I was your introducer in America, I value myself on the share I had in procuring for it the acquisition of so useful and valuable a citizen. Benjamin Franklin said that. Benjamin Franklin, forgive me, there's some mosquitoes I need to kill out here. Benjamin Franklin helped Paine come to the States, and I think he helped him out with like a job or some work here. Paine knew him back over in England, and he had a bit of a impact on him. Although Franklin was more, you know, concerned with the fanciness, the posh society that was like in the New England, Philadelphia area, and fitting in with that. And Thomas Paine, he didn't give a fuck at all. He was like, I'm gonna be myself no matter what, a rebel amongst y'all, and then throw me out in the streets, I don't care, because I come from the streets. Okay. Free America without her. Thomas Paine is unthinkable. Lafayette. I think that's the French something or other. Yeah, so this was made July 4th, 1950, in the 174th year of American independence. Shout out to the people of Morristown during the administration of Clyde Potts and Edward K. Mills Jr. That's nice of them. There's only 2 Thomas Paine statues in New Jersey. Another one's in Bordentown, and he looks like a freaking hobbit in it. I looked it up online. All right, so some more quotes by Thomas Paine, because, you know, I already said I love this man. Independence is my happiness, and I view things as they are, without regard to place or person. My country is the world, and my religion is to do good. Those who expect to reap the blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigues of supporting it. It is folly to argue against the determined hardness, eloquence may strike the ear and the language of sorrow. Draw forth the tear of compassion, but nothing can reach the heart that is steeled with prejudice. Think about that and see what that applies to today. See if that applies to you. See who that applies to. Maybe it applies to you watching this video. Maybe it applies to a lot of boomers too, and a lot of millennials that think all the problems are out there and they're not doing any of it themselves when they got to turn the finger back at themselves. Okay. We fight not to enslave, but to set a country free and to make room upon the earth for honest men to live in. It is an affront to truth to treat falsehood with compliance. Thomas motherfucking Paine. So, yeah, this dude was a savage, as we already know. He's definitely top 5 of people who, if I could go back to in history and hang out with, he's definitely on my list. That last one, saying it's an affront to truth to treat falsehoods with compliance. So when something's wrong in the world and you see something, hey, something's wrong here, instead of saying, oh, well, I don't care, or, oh, well, I guess it's just one time I'll do this. Instead of doing that, you do the opposite and say, no, I will not be compliant with tyranny. Compliance with tyranny is defiance to the divine authority, the divine will that wants to make right on this planet and in this universe. This man, why I like him the best out of all the founding fathers, was because of this. English by birth, French citizen by decree, American by adoption. This man came here from England. He came here realizing the times going on. He stepped up to the fucking plate and he helped America gain independence. He said, hey, George Washington, hey, Benjamin Franklin, hey, Thomas Jefferson, hey, all you guys, stop being little bitches and step up to the plate and let's fight. Let's declare independence now and let's get after it. Then during that time, he was alongside them in battle to continue to keep the morale up and the spirits up of the people. He continued and he continued and he continued. And then he didn't stop there. You know, where all the other guys, the Americans, they're free now. They got to reap the blessings of liberty and freedom. Instead of just doing that, he decided he's gonna go all the way to fucking France and help them out in their revolution now. And while doing that, he wrote more papers. He wrote Rights of Man, because he said, hey, you guys still aren't getting it. There are universal principles of morality in this world. It's wrong to come and steal from somebody. It doesn't make it right no matter what. No matter how you want to say, oh, well, it's in the name of the greater good. Or, oh, well, science says that we can violate people's rights now. Ha, 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 ha. No, he said that's wrong. And he went to France He wrote Rights of Man, which happened to be one of Napoleon's actually favorite works, and scared Thomas out of his mind when Napoleon came to visit him. But again, he did shit that was against the law. Common Sense, that was against the law. He wrote it, and he wrote it under the guise and under the title of Common Sense. He didn't sell it, he gave it out for free to the people. Same thing with the American Crisis, he wrote it as Common Sense. Guess what? It was illegal for him to do that. So he wasn't complying with the falsehoods. It would be an affront to truth, as he said. He stood up for truth and he did it anyway. And guess what? Maybe they would have taken him and they would have fucking pulled his spine and his spleen out of his body. How they found that out? England, because it was against the law to actually have freedom of speech during that time period. And then the next one, Rights of Man. He went to France and he helped out with their revolution. There was someone named Edward Burke, something like that. He wrote something basically just affronting the truth and saying, oh, you guys don't deserve a revolution because blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, Edmund Burke, you're a little bitch. And he came up with all the reasons why that was wrong. And then, during the revolution, one of the guys came into power and they took him and they threw him into the jail cell there. They threw him into the jail cell, and then there's people getting taken out every day. They're getting their heads chopped off on guillotines. 50 people, 100 people a day. He's in the jail cell. He's like, oh my God, am I gonna be next? During that time period, he wasn't done though. He wrote the next one, The Age of Reason, or he wrote Rights of Man Part 2, and he continued on to it. And during that time period, he felt like a bit of betrayal because at the time, George Washington had found out about it. George Washington, he was alongside in these battles, but basically George didn't do anything for him. And he said, what the fuck? He said, you folded your arms, you forgot your friend, and you got cold. So he wasn't even done with George Washington. He said, no, you're being a little bitch because you're the president right now and you can put an end to this, you could get me out of this jail cell. The only reason why he didn't get his motherfucking head chopped off or put on a spike, apparently, it was like the 6 turned into a 9 on the jail cell. And he was able to just narrowly miss it by divine providence. And then I believe James Monroe came. James Monroe Madison, I keep forgetting which one. James Monroe came and saved him from getting his head chopped off. Okay, so that, ladies and gentlemen, is Thomas Paine. I love that we have this one. We need to have more remembrance of these guys. We need to have more remembrance of him because he was very much himself and eccentric and rogue and rebel and maverick amongst even the founding fathers. He alienated and became isolated or outcasted by them, but also he didn't care. His own funeral, he only had 6 people show up. 3 of them were like former slaves that showed up. But he didn't care, he continued on it. His next one, in The Age of Reason, he called out the problems wrong with Christianity. And he wasn't someone that threw the baby out with the bathwater, like I said the other day. He took what's good from it, so he kept the baby, and he threw out the bathwater. But that was too damaging to the belief systems of a lot of these other founding fathers. And they chose to alienate him from him. So, that is Thomas Paine. That's my little rap on Thomas Paine. And it's no wonder why they keep this man and they keep some of these other guys out. Samuel Adams being another one that you should read and look into. So many of their writings are available online. You can go and you can just read them. I'm going to listen to American Crisis Part 2 now and see the update on that situation because we can learn a lot from these guys. They went through their own revolutions and we can see how that applies right now in 2021 because there's a lot of this stuff going on and we need more people to actually understand our historical significance. We can't just have people pouring into the countries. We can't have children in their school systems just going through the motions and not learning about any of these guys. How could we do that? The nation was founded on the principles that these guys created or discovered and then espoused and then support it even at their own peril and even at the chance of their own death. Thomas Jefferson, he said, most people prefer the calmness of tyranny versus the boisterousness or the tempestuousness of freedom. Meaning that they'd rather just calmly comply with tyranny. Okay, I'll do that for you. Okay, I'll do that for you. Okay, I'll get down on my knees for you. Like this. They'll just continue to comply and comply and comply until... Oh! And he addresses this if you listen to his crisis papers. But that's about it. Let's take from him and let's take the spirit that he had and we can choose to embody that now, present day, and live with it because more of us need spirits like this. Remember in the original revolution, it was only 3% of the actual population ever fought in it. The percentage like him was less than the chances of getting you know what. 0.0001. Something like that was the amount of people that actually were like him in this. But we need more people to step up to the plate, and it's stepping up to the moral plate of courage, because Bobby Kennedy has some quote like, moral courage is a greater commodity than great bravery in battle or great intelligence. Few are willing to brave the wrath of their society, the censure of their colleagues, the criticism of their family. But those people who do step up to the plate will find themselves with friends in every corner of the globe. Like, comment, subscribe, holler back. Discovering New Germany, part 2.